Well, I'm Jew, and I'm a Jew. Why are you fighting with us?
Why?
You got the money. That's why you're fighting, you Jewish man. You tell the corporation to stop calling my mother.
What?
What?
No, I don't understand what you're saying.
You can't even speak English? Are you Israeli? Go back to Israel.
I love that guy. That weird, I don't know if he was anti-Semitic or Jewish or a Jewish anti-Semite or just a crazy guy. I don't know. It's pretty incoherent, isn't it? That's the Occupy Wall Street kind of guys. If you remember yesterday, we had someone on from National Review magazine who went down there, interviewed a few of them, and we showed some weird sort of trance-like call and respond action from Occupy Atlanta. I'm very excited because these folks are coming to Canada, and someone who has a little bit of sympathy for these occupiers' street theatrics is my friend Dr. Lorrie Goldstein. Yes. Doctor, how come you have at least a glimmer of support for these folks? What do you like about this Occupy Wall Street stuff? Not this guy.
Let's begin with what you did there. You showed me a lunatic.
He was a lunatic.
Yes, and then say why do you agree with it.
I was having fun. But tell me, what is it about this movement? Forget the lunatics that seem to populate it. What is it about the philosophy or the mission that you like?
I agree with them in that the people who precipitated the global economic crisis in 2008 that wiped out trillions of dollars of pension funds, jobs, tens of millions of jobs around the world, people's homes, was committed by a finite number of Wall Street investment houses and banks that have gotten off scot-free. And in matter of fact, had their malfeasance subsidized by American taxpayers to the tune of $700 billion. It's outrageous.
That's the Toxic Asset Relief Program, or TARP. That's the stimulus. That's the bank bailouts.
It's what they did that's outrageous. They packaged crap subprime mortgage securities, high risk, sold them as safe investments, and when it all came down, the so-called great capitalists went running to their friends in government. Doesn't matter if it's a Democratic government or a Republican government. In the past 10 years, the financial services industry in the United States has spent $5 billion lobbying and donating to Democrats and Republicans, including President Obama. They have 3,000 lobbyists. That's more than 5 lobbyists for every congressman. They've dismantled government regulation, which is appropriate in terms of these financial houses, and they got away with it. And while I abhor what we just saw, I'm glad that some people are finally getting angry about it.
Well, that's the thing. Who's getting angry, and what are they trying to do? The anger ought to have been here in 2008 and 2009 when these bailouts went going. What I see here is, and who should the anger be directed at? To punish those who were responsible for the meltdown, to stop the bailout of this bad behavior. To me, the time to speak up was when these stimulus and TARP bills were passed in Congress. But today, 3 years later, and it's a clown show. You know what? This is subsidized by big labor unions, Lorrie, who actually I don't even know what they're up to. Let me ask you one question, and then I got to show you a clip of some of the labor unions behind this. What are these guys trying to change? Or what do you want to change? Forget that. What do you want to change?
What they're expressing, and there are,
This is an ad, by the way. Sorry, it's just on the screen right now. This is an ad that will pay people $350 to $650 a week. This is a labor union front called Working Families. $350 to $650 a week to go and protest. These are that nut bar you saw there. It's not a volunteer. He'd rather be at home smoking a bomb or something.
Let's talk about real damage to the economy. Goldman and Sachs last year paid a $550 million fine for packaging subprime mortgage securities and selling them as good, safe investments because they good, safe investments when they were creating the fund with the help of one of the world's largest hedge funds that wanted the value of that to go down. Now, if you or I do that, what's that called? And they paid a fine.
Yeah.
They don't have to admit guilt. Well, I don't know why they're paying the fine. What they had to admit was that they made a mistake. They should have been more forthright in the information.
So what changes do you want?
That's big-time crime.
Listen, I'm with you.
That's big-time crime.
But what do you want to do about it?
It's not, wait a minute now. It's not what I want to do about it.
What should be done?
This started, what should be done? They've got to, in the United States, they've got to give up the myth that this is a Democrat versus Republican issue. This is big money versus everybody else. They've got to end the hypocrisy of these Wall Street so-called masters of the universe who come out, we're the capitalists, we believe only the fittest should survive. When their own greed collapsed the system, they went running to the government to be bailed out. And who helped bail them out? Paulson. Who was Paulson? He was the Treasury Secretary for Bush and Obama.
Sure, well,
what was he before?
Yeah.
He was the chairman of Goldman & Sachs.
Yeah.
In his previous role as the chairman of Goldman & Sachs, he fought against limiting leveraging. What's leveraging? Leveraging is borrowing money to invest, which made this such an astounding debacle. And what these companies did, remember, it wasn't the subprime mortgage crisis in the end that caused the crisis. It was that they created a global credit freeze. Why did they create a global credit freeze? Because by the end, banks and investment houses all over the world didn't trust each other's investments. They were effectively saying of all their competitors, they have two sets of books. One's the real set. And to me, those are the things you have to start deconstructing. I don't care about an anti-Semite or an idiot. I don't care about a union. I care about these people helped. They created a situation we may never recover from.
I will go.
And Canadian banks were better. Why? Because they were more regulated.
I will go and support the Lorrie Goldstein Occupy Laurie's office movement.
I don't believe in violence.
Neither do I. I'm saying I support what you're saying, but I want you to explain the phenomenon we see on the streets. Here's a video clip. Here's an audio clip of the head of a big government union. I think this is the Service Employees Union. This is a government union. Can you roll the clip, Ricky? Lorrie, explain this to me.
Okay.
The week of October 10th, for a week, New York, Minneapolis, and Chicago will all be doing things. Chicago is going to start on the 10th with what we think will be 5,000 people. There's going to be all sorts of things every day. I won't give them all away here because we don't necessarily want to not be able to do them, but lots of really creative, fun stuff. In New York, there's going to be a whole campaign around the millionaires tax and pointing out that there's plenty of millionaires. We may go visit some of them.
Okay, so they're going to protest in front of millionaires' homes. They're going to protest. Fine. Here's my question, Lorrie. What's in it for a big government union boss to organize these things? We saw a help wanted ad. I'm with you on countering fraud. What's the big union's angle?
That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem we have is that the public sector has arranged job security and benefits far above equivalent jobs.
So why are they weighing in here?
Because their attitude is this is a way to get Republicans, it's a way to get rich people, yada, yada, yada. But if we're going to talk about intimidation, talk about how many times the the Securities and Exchange Commission has been intimidated into not prosecuting people. Talk to their former prosecutors who say, well, I was working on this and I got told by upstairs to drop it. Yeah. So the problem is that something happened in 2000. And why is it happening? Why is it having resonance even with people like me? Because I think the original social contract that you, and or at least I grew up in, I'm sure you did, work hard, be honest, and your company will look after you and the system will look after you. That's the fundamental belief of, I would say, North American democracy. And I think it's been betrayed. And I think a lot of people have been thrown out of work through no fault of their own. I think they've lost their life savings through no fault of their own. And I think it's wrong. And I think that the problem here is that it's only anger. Yeah. We don't just need anger. We need action. And there's regulatory things that could be done. Restore the power of the Securities and Exchange Commission to police these clowns.
I think Lorrie, you're being very persuasive to me. I don't agree with you 100%, but let's call it 90%. What you have done is you have put over a coherent intellectual philosophy on a bunch of pot-smoking hippies. I mean, Ricky, in closing, show the picture of one of the protesters in New York going to the bathroom on a police car. Put that up there just one. This is what Occupy Wall Street is about here's a protester literally taking a crap on a New York City police car.
He's an idiot.
But what you've done is you've provided him with a rationale that he doesn't have. Are you saying that
that's the only motivation of these people?
I don't know.
And that it's spreading all over into Canada? Now, Canada's a little weird because we weren't anywhere near
it's fake. It's not grassroots. It's AstroTurf. It's fake grassroots. It's unions organizing BS.
Is the Tea Party fake too?
No, that's the opposite.
You see, to me, the Tea Party and this are their manifestations, as flawed as they are, of the same feeling.
Except for people who weren't paid $22 an hour to go to the Tea Party.
We got ripped off. And they're right. They did get ripped off, and they should be angry.
This is a leftist counterfeit Tea Party that they have to pay people $22 an hour.
To me, you can't get this many people this upset if all you're doing is paying people to demonstrate. I don't endorse that nonsense. I don't endorse violence. My fear is that the black bloc types will take it over, and then all of the rationality will disappear. But Ezra, I believe in capitalism. What happened in 2008 wasn't capitalism.
I'm with you on that.
It was crony capitalism.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're right to say those who are calling for the survival of the fittest were the first in line for the big bill.
Total hypocrites.
Lorrie, I'm so glad you brought your perspective today. Right on, my friend.
I think we had a good discussion.
We sure did. Hey.